Hello Rebels and welcome back to my life. It's Writer Wednesday, the day where I talk about what I'm writing and hopefully inspire you to get back to what you should be writing. I've been having a problem with my writing recently. If you are a regular viewer of my other YouTube channel Vlog and Novel, or if you tune in for the live stream over on Twitch, then you know that I haven't been producing as much as I should be on my writing recently. Well, this week I had my regular Monday phone call with Sean Platt, my writing partner, and I finally figured out what the deal is, and I thought that it was a breakthrough that might be helpful to you. What I've been having recently is a lack of an intense desire to sit down and actually work on the book that I'm writing. It's very weird and very unusual for me, and it felt like I was experiencing the dreaded writer's block. But I've never had writer's block before, and to be honest, I kinda don't believe in it. I'm not trying to negate anybody else's experience in their own writing, but like, it is never something that has been an issue for me. Anyway, in talking with Sean, I figured out what the issue is. The book that I'm writing isn't good enough, or at least it wasn't good enough. And in that context, it's a lot easier to understand why I've been having an issue. I mean, here's a confession. I really like my own books, okay? That might sound blasphemous to you, especially if you are a writer who is plagued with doubts and insecurities. I mean, we all are to some extent. But to write a book and actually put it out there for other people to read, you have to have some degree of ego telling you that it's worth their time. And one thing I have no shortage of is ego, for better or worse. And so if I didn't like the book that I was working on, of course I would be reluctant to sit down and work on it every single day. Because I don't want this book to be the one that people look back on and go, that was a good series. Except for that one. Man, really don't know what was happening there. And the reason that it wasn't good enough is because I violated my own best practices that have served me well in a writing career that's now just over 3 years old. I write very, very detailed outlines for my books. Not everybody has to outline, but I do. And my benchmark for when an outline is complete is that I am super excited to sit down and start working on the book. Well, obviously that never happened because I wasn't super excited to start writing it, and up until recently, I still wasn't. And that's because there are structural problems in the story itself that are keeping me from being excited about it. Flaws in the book that, like, of course I kind of subconsciously recognize that they're there, even though I never really analyzed it and, like, figured out what they were. But that's the sort of thing I do in my outlining. Talking about it now, it seems really obvious, but I had to talk to Sean before I finally realized what was going on. So the lesson to take away from here is the more you write, the better you get at it. The faster you become, and the more easily you're able to say what you mean to say while you're doing the writing itself. But endless work isn't the be-all, end-all. Slugging away at it forever isn't going to help you in the long term unless you, every once in a while, sit down and analyze what does work and what doesn't work, and do the things that do work and stop the things that don't work. So I don't want you to take away from this that you have to outline your books in order to write well, because a lot of people don't, and you might not have to. It might help you, but it might not. You need to figure out what works well for you. But as you keep going, whichever way you prefer to write, track your production. Track the habits that you surround that production with, and figure out what tips and tricks do work for you and which ones don't. And if after you've been doing it for a while you bog down or stall or just can't seem to get excited about it anymore, look back at what you're doing and figure out what you've changed from when it was actually working and get back in the things that work for you. And we all have to do this. It doesn't just magically take care of itself after a while. We have to constantly evaluate and analyze what we're doing and whether we could be doing it better and whether we've changed something for the worse. And it's going to be different for every person. I want to stress that. The only person that you should try to be consistent with is yourself. And that's it for today, Rebels. A special shout out to my supporters on Patreon who make the YouTube channel possible. If you want to be one of those excellent people or get signed copies of my books, there are links in the description to both of those things. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!